Hi, welcome back to Bride Society. Today we are in the kitchen of Green Kitchen Cakes with Miss Green Kitchen Cake herself to give you a bit more information and ideas about what to expect when you go for a cake tasting for your wedding or any other event, but we're a wedding channel, so as you may know from watching our channel, Laura has her own cake making business and obviously does a lot of weddings with that. So we thought we'd give you that bit of insight into, what to expect from a cake tasting, what maybe the supplier wishes you knew when you came in, like what would be helpful for them that you did, and yeah, basically what you can sort of expect things to evolve and unfold.
Yeah, because for most people, it's the first time they'll
you've probably not done it before.
So it can be a bit daunting maybe, kind of thinking, oh, what do I need to do? Like, how are they going to know what I want? Things like that. So, yes.
So as a starting point, like how far in advance would you say people should get in touch with you to like start the whole ball rolling?
I think you'll hear this from a lot of people, a lot of suppliers, sooner the better, especially if you're having a summer wedding, peak season, a Saturday, a weekend. People do start planning their weddings years in advance sometimes. Now that might be a bit too far in advance for a cake person, personally speaking. I wouldn't necessarily take your booking if we're in 2019 now. If you're getting married in 2022, I probably wouldn't secure that date for you just yet. But if you're a year out, 18 months out, maybe up to 2 years out, I would kind of be getting in touch with people, especially if you've got someone in mind that you actually want to book, just to make sure they're available. Because the worst thing is if you've got your heart set on a supplier and then they're not available on your day because you've left it too late and they're already fully booked. Wedding.
Like I suppose with cake suppliers, I know for you sometimes you can service more than one person on a day depending on the timings of the weddings, right?
Yeah.
So I guess you don't get as quickly booked up as like a wedding photographer might and that
Possibly,
kind of thing.
Yeah, I do. I limit it to 2 weddings per day if the timings and the venues work logistically and the cakes aren't too
super
huge,
complex.
elaborate decorated cakes. So I want to make sure each couple gets my full attention and makes they feel as though they're getting the best service from me. So yeah, maximum of 2 per day, I would say. So it's still, I could be booked quite easily for that.
Yeah. And do people usually email you, ring you? How do they arrange
Yes, I think
things?
most inquiries come through the website. There's an email function on there, and I think that's the least scary way of getting in touch with someone. So you can also write a bit about what you're thinking of, at least kind of putting the date and the venue, how many people you're having, if you've got any rough ideas of what you're after, and then I can, before you commit to anything, before you even come to a cake tasting, I can give you a rough idea of price, and then at least you know whether that's something like doable for you, because I know everyone's got different budgets. So it's nice to know before. It wastes everybody's time if you turn up for a consultation and then it turns out that I'm way out of your price range or something. Because then you're just left disappointed and you've got to find someone else. So.
You've lost even more time, kind of thing. What's the sort of turnaround time then? So like if someone's like, I'm getting married in like 6 months or whatever, like from them getting in touch with you to being able to like come see you, like can that happen quite quickly, or is it?
I say, just changing the question slightly, I say you should get in touch as soon as possible. If your wedding's only in 3 months' time and I'm available, by all means, I would still be able to do your cake. So after the initial kind of inquiry, we'd go back and forth maybe a couple of times, so I'd get a rough idea of what you're thinking of. I can give you an estimate and the price, and then we'd arrange a suitable time for both of us to sit down. You'd come, we'd talk about some of your ideas in more detail, and then I'd give you a box of cakes to take away.
Excellent.
Try.
Excellent.
And then even if you're not really sure what you want at that point, because you might not have any ideas. This is you've no idea what you want for your wedding cake. So we can still sit down and talk about the style of the wedding, kind of narrow down maybe your broad ideas. And then it's only the month before the wedding, that's when all the final details have to be kind of decided. So there's still plenty of time to make changes between the cake tasting and then the wedding.
Right. So with cake tastings, then, like, generally do the cake suppliers, like, do they meet you at your house? Do they come to you? Do you meet somewhere else? Like, how does that normally?
So it'll vary from person to person. So some people might have a shop and a studio, in which case you're probably most likely going to go there. Other people work from home. I know a lot of wedding cake businesses work out of their home kitchen, or you may meet at a kind of a central point, maybe a public place. If you're a bit nervous about meeting this stranger, then that might be a good idea for you. So you might meet at a cafe or something like that and just talk through your ideas. And then there's less pressure as well, possibly doing it that way, because you can, if you don't get on, then you can leave at any point.
I suppose this is what I was going to ask before. Like, at what point in all this do they actually have to, like, commit to you? Like,
okay, yeah.
So, like, after they've met you, or do they kind of have to pay a deposit for the cake you give them at the tasting? Like,
so how I currently work, and this is
proviso.
As of January 2019, my consultations, cake tastings are free and there's no obligation to them. Obviously,
don't take advantage.
No.
Folks.
We want you to be serious and thinking about booking a wedding cake with me, but so there's absolutely no pressure. You don't have to pay any money up front and then think, oh, is this the right thing?
Trapped.
Yeah, so once you've tasted the cake, you've met me, so you trust that I can do what you want, and kind of you trust that I will turn up on your wedding day, and then if you still want to go forward, then at that point you pay a deposit to secure the booking.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, and that's just a percentage of the overall cost you pay? So
it's usually 50%.
Okay.
So after the cake tasting, I will send over everything we've talked about. So I do a written quote. So you've got it in writing, and so you know that I've understood what you've said, and it's not going to be a surprise on the wedding day that I turn up with a cake that you weren't expecting.
You're like, what? I've got like an emoticon cake? What?
Exactly. So that also has the price on it. So it might be that the actual final quote isn't confirmed at the consultation. It might have to be, I might have to go away and price up a few things if there's specific decorations that you want on it. So I can give you a rough idea, but then the final price would be on the paperwork that's normally sent out within about a week, depending on how busy a time of year it is. And then within a couple of weeks, I usually say to book, especially if it's a popular date. Obviously, from a business point of view, I can't really be hanging on months and months
holding loads of dates
without a deposit. Yeah, so your date is only set once a deposit has been paid. But obviously, I do give a realistic time frame for people to make up their minds, because it is a big decision. I mean, a lot of things about weddings is expensive.
Yeah.
It's probably the most expensive cake you'll buy. So. So you've got time to think about it, and then say 50% deposit, and then the balance due a month before the wedding, and that's when all the final details are decided as well, and the flavours are confirmed.
Right. So I mean, in terms of flavours, like, what kind of things do you do? Like, what are the choices?
So pretty much anything that you'd want, I could do for you. The most popular flavours are still the kind of the classic lemons, vanilla, chocolate. But on my website I have a list of popular flavours, but also say if you've got a particular favourite flavour that you want to include in your wedding, then just let me know, because then I can make a sample for you.
For the tasting?
Yes. That's the other thing. Before we met, you would let me know what flavours you're interested in, or at least an idea of some you may be thinking about, even if you're not 100% sure, because then you get an idea of what my cake is like, even if that's not the final flavour that you end up going with.
And so who would normally attend the tasting?
So normally the couple who are getting married, And then occasionally parents might want to be involved as well. It's always good to check with the person you're going to see for your cake tasting whether they can accommodate that and whether that's okay. Normally that's fine, but say if you wanted to bring along 8 people, then depending on kind of where you're meeting and whether it's appropriate or not. So maybe just, I now give cake boxes to take away so the couple can try the cake without me watching them eat.
Yeah.
So, well, it's not necessary maybe that your parents are there at the meeting if their main thing is they want to also try a bit of the cake, because you can take that away with you and then share it with them maybe if you want to. You might not want to share in the comfort of your own home or somewhere else where you can have an honest conversation about it as well.
Yeah.
I like to think my cakes are good, but I would hate someone to feel under pressure kind of in front of me having to lie if they didn't like it. So at least, and if they don't like it, I don't want to hear about it. So they can say that away from my ears. But hopefully, touch wood, they will like it.
What should people bring, if anything, to a tasting?
So again, it doesn't matter if you're not really sure what you want yet, that's fine. But if you have got maybe a colour scheme already planned, if you've got any swatches of bridesmaid material, if you wanted anything on the cake to kind of coordinate with that. So say if you wanted some ribbon to match the bridesmaid dresses, it might be helpful to bring it along just so I get an idea of the colour. But again, that could be something that you sent or sent a photo later down the line. You can get wedding cake magazines that have lots of different pictures of cakes. Again, Pinterest,
yeah.
The black hole that time
rabbit hole, you just fall down.
So if you've seen some particular things on there, by all means bring them along. I wouldn't copy a cake that somebody else had done, but I have no objection to taking elements of different things to incorporate it so it's your unique cake.
So adapting things.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a good idea to also get the style, so I can understand the style of the wedding that maybe you're having. If you're the kind of styles that you like as well. So if you're not 100% sure on how you want your actual cake to look, if you're coming to me with lots of different pictures that all have things in common, that helps me kind of narrow down what I think you might want.
Yeah, you sort of just pull together the overall theme and
I never want to tell a couple what they should have as their cake, but I can certainly present ideas to them. It might be something that you haven't thought of, and you think, oh, actually, yeah, or you might hate it, and that's fine because we can keep working until we get what you do want.
And I don't recall for mine, the design that I wanted for mine in terms of number of tiers was kind of dictated by the style that I wanted, but in terms of number of people and how many tiers of cake you need, what's the sort of rough ratio that you would recommend?
It varies if you've got a particular idea in mind of how you want the cake to look. It doesn't really matter.
Kind of like mine is sort of dictated by that.
But my most popular size is kind of a 3-tier cake, which serves between 80 and 100 people, depending on how big the slices are.
Yeah, how big this catering staff cut it.
Yeah. There are other options if you say you only wanted a 2-tier cake, but that wouldn't serve enough people. You could still have that and then have more cake that's just not on display. Or again, if you wanted a large cake but you were only having 50 guests, but you wanted 5 tiers or something, you could have fake tiers depending on the style of cake you were going for. But that isn't necessarily any cheaper, just as a proviso. If you are having polystyrene tiers, it's not necessarily cheaper than if you were having them as real cake, but obviously there's less wastage.
Yeah, okay.
Potentially.
But yeah, because the level of sort of decoration work is still...
It's the time taken to decorate rather than... There's not that much difference in cost with kind of the ingredients. Yeah.
And in terms of cost, I think this is a question that everyone wants to know, isn't it? But it's kind of the really hard one to answer, just straight up, how much does a wedding cake cost?
And I'm probably going to give you quite a cop-out answer
as
well.
Because I know when we've talked about it before, and part of it's partly to do with the sort of the complexity of decoration, isn't it? So like naked cakes are going to be like very vastly cheaper than, well, not vastly, but there's still a lot of ingredients and work, but much cheaper than like royal icing or ornate sugar flour cakes, right? It's basically like the amount of time and work that go into it.
Yeah, I think the main cost involved in a wedding cake is the time it takes to make it and decorate it. So yeah, so naked cake has a lot less decoration that's potentially than say an iced cake with all the sugar flowers and things like that, which would take a lot longer. So really you're paying for somebody's time, which a lot of people which can be forgotten sometimes, but that's the main difference. It's definitely how long it would take, the complexity of the design, how much decoration, if you're having kind of specialist decoration on, specific things that you want that maybe need to be ordered, things like that. And it will vary from region to region how much people charge, and from cake decorator to cake decorator.
Right.
So it's good to maybe contact a few people. If you've got an idea in mind of what maybe your budget is, contact a few people to see whether that's realistic or not, and see where they sit. I think that's the only way to do it, really.
Yeah, it's not just like you have a 3-tip cake, it's X amount, and
no, sadly not.
Sorry, guys. But, and I know one thing that I know has come up for you a few times in terms of costs and arranging things is to do with fresh flowers on cakes, isn't it? Yeah,
so there are different ways to do that. So depending if you wanted the main decoration on your cake to be kind of fresh flowers, the majority of the time you would arrange that with your florist and have the cost of the flowers would be included in your floristry bill. And then that just means that they match everything else, they coordinate, and they can get the exact flowers that will be in your bouquet potentially, and you know that everything's just going to be the same. If you aren't really having any of the flowers in the wedding, or it's just a couple of bits of maybe gypsophila, something like that, that is something we could talk about me providing. It's down to the couple and whether I think I could supply the flowers that they wanted, really.
You've typically always done like the arranging of the flowers, is that right?
Yes. So
they kind of give them you, and
depending on what it is, sometimes I'll arrive at a venue and the florist has created some sort of spray or something in a particular arrangement, and then I can just put that on and that's fine.
Is that usually like it's on the top kind of thing,
yeah,
so it just sort of sits?
Yeah. Other times I'll arrive and it's just been arranged that the flowers will be left for me. I will have spoken to the couple about how they want it arranging on the cake, because I know a lot of florists can be a bit nervous about touching the cake, because if they kind of put the flowers on and then knock the cake over, it's their fault. They can't do anything about it. And I would know kind of the best ways to do certain things, and I wouldn't want to just kind of stick a flower kind of in the cake, the different ways to protect it so flour doesn't seep all into the cake, and things like that.
So is there anything else that you kind of just think clients should know or wish they knew, or kind of
just that you're in charge of your cake.
She's not scary, so you can't.
I'm very nice. So don't be afraid to talk about what you want, what you're thinking of. I will tell you if I don't think I'm the right person for you. So my style is more kind of the naked cakes, semi-naked cakes, buttercream, less kind of the really formal, huge elaborate wedding cakes. That's not to say I wouldn't do it, but I might know of someone who might be better suited to you as a couple. When you're first getting in touch, it's just useful in the email to kind of give the date and possibly venue information up front. I do get some emails sometimes asking about a cake, and we'll kind of go back and forth, and then it turns out actually I'm not free on your wedding, so
there's no point to any of the conversation.
So that just would be helpful. Don't be afraid to change your mind on things if you go away, if you've kind of talked about what you want and then quote's been sent out and you want to go ahead, but then think, oh, actually, I think I've changed my mind. I want this instead. Again, don't be afraid to get in touch. It might alter the price slightly, but I mean, I will always try and do my best to kind of change things for you. So, unless it's kind of the day before the wedding, then then it's probably absolutely doable.
That's the thing, because it's time consuming, isn't it? To do things. So yeah, there's only so much like last minute alterations that you could do. But
so yeah, I mean, that's why I say a month before is perfect for confirming things. There is a little bit of leeway for me, but I wouldn't leave it too much after that. Yeah, I mean, different cake makers will be different, but I think generally this will be how it goes. You may pay for consultation somewhere. That might then be deducted off the price of the cake if you go with them. And things like that. So there'll be slight differences, but I think generally suppliers want to know upfront kind of date, amount of people, rough idea of what you're thinking, so kind of if you're thinking on the lines of naked or iced, and then maybe some flavours you're thinking of. Anything else is a bonus. And then you can talk about all that at your cake tasting.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So if you have any other questions that we've not covered today, feel free to ask them in the comments below and we'll do our best to help you out. And if you're interested in seeing any more in this kind of series of like sort of interviewing wedding suppliers and asking your questions, let us know. But yeah, hope you find that helpful. Please remember to hit subscribe, and if you like the video, hit that all important button below, and we'll see you next time.